Good evening. It is November the 11th and it is Veterans Day. Those pictures just put a smile on my face and warmed my heart. And I just want to start tonight's program here on NNPA and Black Press USA to acknowledge the men and women who have given up their lives for this country and for the men and women that are here serving each and every day and abroad for this country for the rights that we enjoy every day. Happy Veterans Day to you all. And that is from Black Press USA and NNPA. Welcome to FIA. I'm your host, Taylor Thomas, and I have a very special guest joining me. All my guests actually are really special. Tonight's guest is Erica Campbell. The name sounds familiar, right? No, not that celeb. Now, she's a star, but she's not that celeb. Let me now introduce you to Erica Campbell.
Hey,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm wonderful. I feel like I know you from all the communications that we had before bringing you on the show. So,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, this is Erica Campbell, and she is a stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer survivor.
Yes.
She is an author and a model. Erica, we have a lot to talk about.
Yes. Yes, it's nice to meet you and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Erica, before we get into the diagnosis, can we talk about who you are as a person? So people can get to know Erica Campbell.
Yeah, so as she stated, I'm Erica Campbell. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C., and I'm a girl, a D.C. girl living my best life. I went through some trials and tribulations, but I'm very resilient, and life is good now. Life is good. I mean, hey, I went through what I went through so that I can be here tonight with you, Taylor, and your audience to share my amazing life-changing story.
So you grew up in DC, and is now Maryland your home, or did you at some point while you were a child or young adult move into Maryland?
Yes, so I moved to Maryland in my mid-20s. Yeah, so I moved to Maryland, left my parents' home, then left the what do you call it? The I don't know what to call it, but I left my
The
parents'
comfort,
home.
right?
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
Left the nest.
Yes, I left the nest. Yes. So I was like, okay, I need my own place, my own space. So I moved out in my mid-20s, and I was just, working and enjoying my life, and just, how most 20-year-olds were living our best life, traveling and going to different places. And yeah, my life changed towards the end of my 20s. At 27, my life changed forever.
So at 27, which I believe was 2013, when
Yes.
you were diagnosed with, was it at that point were you told you had stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma?
No, it wasn't at that point. So it was a journey. So the
Okay.
journey began in November of 2012, where I had
Okay.
this ongoing persistent cough. And for 2 weeks, I was just coughing nonstop. I'm like, okay, what is going on? I was taking over-the-counter meds and nothing helped. So I decided to make an appointment with my primary physician. I went in to see him. He said it sounded like I had a dry cough. So he just, sent me home with antibiotics and cough medicine, Robitussin. And later on, 7 days later, I took all of the antibiotics. I'm still coughing. So I couldn't have a conversation with you without every few seconds I'm coughing nonstop. And
Wow.
so I made another appointment. I went back to see him. He stated that he wanted to send me to do a CAT scan. So I went to the radiology center to do a CAT scan, and I got a call back from him maybe 30, 45 minutes later. It looked like he had partial pneumonia. Okay, go back, do another CAT scan with a contrast where they shoot the dye into your system. And so I went back maybe a couple of days later, did another CAT scan. And then,
Erica, I want to
yes,
ask you, with all this going on, living my best life,
yes.
27, 28, what is going on in your mind? Because this is back and forth is getting, at some point you're like, okay, wait a minute, there may be a problem here.
Yes, yes. And so now I'm getting scared. I'm like, okay, I'm going back and forth to the doctors. And the second time he said, it looks like your lymph nodes are enlarged around your lungs. We need to have a sit down. And when we sat down, he said it could be either sarcoidosis or it could
Oh my
be
goodness.
lymphoma. So I knew I've
Wow.
heard of sarcoidosis, but I never heard of lymphoma until I used Google. And I said, wow, this is cancer. And I'm hoping that is not lymphoma.
So you go for that second test.
Yes.
Walk us through what happened at that point.
So when I went for the second test, when we actually got the results back, when I sat down with him, he stated that either or sarcoidosis or lymphoma. He said, we need to send you to a specialist to have them decide if they want to do a biopsy. So I made an appointment with a specialist. He decided he wanted to do a biopsy in December of 2012. The biopsy was not successful for whatever reason. They didn't get enough of the lymph node. So the specialist stated that he wanted to send me to another specialist. And then I made an appointment with the second specialist to have another surgical procedure where, again, they put me under. They did a small incision across my neck. They went in, it took a lymph node, and on March 28th of 2013, that's when I was diagnosed with at that time, I didn't know it was stage 4, but I knew it was Hodgkin's.
You were working. Are you taking time off? Are you trying not to tell your family and friends that you're going back and forth to the doctor? And the reason why I'm pointing this out, not to make it dramatic, but these are things that people are dealing with right now in their lives or possibly facing. And what I'm hoping is that you give them inspiration that they're not alone and then they can get through this.
Yeah. So during the back and forth, I was communicating with my mom and telling her like what was going on. I really didn't share too much with other people, but before I started like getting the persistent cough, people at work was like, "Are you losing weight? Why are your clothes are big on you?" Or I realized with the symptoms by doing the research when I was told it was a possibility, night sweats, fatigue. I couldn't take a shower for a long period of time. I was feeling just weak. I was feeling that ill health feeling before I knew the possibility. But then when I did the research, I said, oh, it's probably cancer. I'm hoping that it's not, but the symptoms and everything that I read, it led to lymphoma. So I had the symptoms long before the cough. I was having night sweats probably in the spring or the summer of 2012. And in November, it changed where the cough came.
Erica, I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest fears that I have is when someone says, well, check the symptoms, right? Because I think as humans, we make ourselves fit into them. And then you get paranoid because you're like, oh my goodness, I have 4 of the 5 or, 3 of the 5. But you're saying, I mean, the night sweats, I probably would pass it off as that, unless it was not in the, summer months, I'd pass it off, I was just hot,
Yeah.
Wow.
It was really crazy. But when the cough started, I said, well, again, I thought I had just a normal cold. It was November. So I'm like, okay, I just have a winter or fall cold. So when it just became persistent, I said, something is wrong. And I was told by friends, hey, go and see the doctor. And then that's when the journey occurred. And yeah, it was scary.
So Erica, now you go from, living your best life, happy, making plans for the future to honestly a fight for your life, correct?
Yes, definitely a fight for my life. In and out of the hospital, MRSA, shingles, blood clots. It was a lot of crazy nights, a lot of crazy days. I didn't know if I was going to survive. When they did a biopsy on my bone marrow, that's when I found out that I was at stage 4 because it had passed through my bone marrow and all throughout my body. And it was devastating. Even the first day, the first initial time on March 28th, when the doctor came to my hospital room, because I had to stay for blood transfusions, my red blood cells were very low. So I had to stay in the hospital. And when he came up after the surgery and told me I had cancer, I was devastated. I was scared. I was in shock. My parents were sitting there. My sister was sitting there. And I was just in like a twilight zone. I didn't know how to feel. I was just numb to his words. But I was angry with God, to be honest. I'm like, why me? But it took time. It took my faith. It took prayer to understand that no one is exempt from anything in life. And so why not me? Now I'm able to share my story with you.
So Erica, were you dating? Was it just you doing this alone and going through this solo? I mean, I know you had friends and family, but I just wonder, I mean, there's so many things that people don't realize when an illness hits you. And did the doctor say you have blank percentage of living? Because stage 4 is that's the big one, right?
Yes.
That makes everyone stand up and pay attention. But usually they say if you're given a diagnosis of stage 4, there's really no turning back. You're here and we have so much more to talk about, but what were you told at that point?
So yes, I was single. I was single at that time, and I of course I've had friends, but my amazing friend base that my long-term friends, long-time friends, my family, my support system was amazing. My parents taking me back and forth up the hospital, up the highway to the hospital, the cancer center, and just people being here in my home just to make sure I was comfortable at that time just made me really see that there was a chance for me to survive. But at that time, I remember sitting in my oncology doctor's office and when I initially asked, what stage am I? Because I didn't think about that until my auntie asked me the question. I said, you know what, let me ask. I was like, okay, am I going to die? That's my initial thoughts. It was plenty of times where I wanted to give up. I was so sick on my stomach. I was so weak. I was tired of the back and forth where I felt like I was going to die, and at that time it was just like, but she made sure I knew that with research and years of research Hodgkin lymphoma is highly curable. So she yes, is definitely highly curable. And we got to this point because of individuals supporting organizations like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the Lymphoma Research Foundation, donations for research, you know what I mean, to get to this point where we are, where it is highly curable and we can get the treatments that we need to be able to survive.
Erica, I think I should give you the opportunity to actually tell us what Hodgkin's lymphoma is for those who may not be familiar with it. So we have everybody on the same page, because this is rather unique to me.
So it's a type of cancer that starts in the body's immune system, and it's called the lymphatic system. And as the cancer progresses, like it did within my body, it enables the body ability to fight off infections. So for me, it spread all throughout my body. So of course, like I said, I ended up getting shingles. I ended up having MRSA. I ended up having just, my immune system was so depleted, my red blood cells. And of course, with chemo, your white blood cells and things of that nature, it just becomes so depleted at that time where it's like your body is trying to fight. Your body is definitely, it's 137 types of blood cancers, but definitely it's still, yes, 137. At one time, I say about maybe 3-4 years ago, we were at about 100, maybe less. So now it changes with research. So again, for more information about blood cancers and Hodgkin lymphoma, you can go to the American Cancer Society's webpage, to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's webpage, where I am an ambassador, and the Lymphoma Research Foundation. And there's so much more information to gain and on those outlets as well.
So can we talk a little bit about your treatment? And I say your treatment because I think it's important for us to understand everyone's treatment will be different, as well as the diagnosis as far as. So what was your treatment and what was that like for you?
Yes, so I received 12 rounds of chemotherapy treatment, no radiation, and over a course of 6 months. So definitely, and it's a regimen. ABVD is the regimen. Google it, get more information about that regimen. But out of ABVD, I did not receive the B regimen, which is bleomycin, because my lungs were very, very weak. So my oncology doctor did not want to move forward with that particular regimen. But not receiving it and only receiving 3 of the regimens, I survived it very quickly. When I had a PET scan in April, you could see the cancer in my PET scan everywhere. But they did another PET scan in June after a few rounds of chemotherapy. The cancer was nowhere to be found.
So what does that look like? Can you give us a visual description of what does cancer look like in the body?
So for me, when you look at a PET scan, you see all these dark spots. It's cancer. It's the cells everywhere over in your body. So when you look at the picture, it just looked like, of course, like the X-ray, and you can see the cancer all over your body. And again, when I looked at the first picture in April 2013, I was like, wow, it was everywhere, my chest, my neck, my stomach. And then again in June, we did a new PET scan and it was nowhere. And in that short period of time, you can see that the regimen that I received was working. I got excited, but my oncology doctor said, no, we still have to do all 12 rounds of chemo.
Okay.
I said,
Okay.
okay. So I finished all 12 rounds in September of 2013. September 27th, 2013 was my last day of chemo treatment.
So with chemo, do you have hair loss with that, or is it with the other? I'm sorry, you said something else before. I'm trying to figure out, because I think there's one treatment for cancer that you don't experience the hair loss.
So for me, I didn't go completely bald, but my hair was shedding really bad and it thinned out really bad. So I just remember maybe a few rounds of chemotherapy treatment. I remember washing my hair to get it styled by my hairstylist. And I remember just sitting on my bed after I washed my hair and it was falling out. And I was devastated. I just cried. And she was
for a woman. Yes. Listen, that is a big deal.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yes.
At any stage, at any age.
Yes.
You're already dealing with that, and then you've got to deal with the exterior. So the other thing I wanted to know too was, what about the work environment? Who's paying for all this?
Yes. So I was out of work for about 4 months because every time I wanted to go back to work, something else came up. I was too weak. My body was going through too many changes, and I was in the hospital a lot. I have and had health insurance at that time. So definitely the support of the different organizations, as I named, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the Lymphoma Research Foundation, American Cancer Society, when I needed just financial assistance for gas, for travel. These organizations truly, truly helped me. And it was through my social worker at the cancer center at St. Agnes in Baltimore. I remember her sitting beside me when I was receiving my treatment, and she went through this entire book. I just went across the book a few months ago when I was cleaning my guest bedroom. I was going through a box. I said, all of this information I received. And a lot of patients that I've talked to don't have social workers, don't have that type of support at the cancer center where they're receiving their treatment. So I was blessed to have that, to be able to get this information.
Why you?
God. God. I feel like
enough said.
Yes, God, because I've spoken to so many different patients newly diagnosed. And when I bring up, do you have a social worker? Do you have someone at your cancer center that can help you, guide you, get you the support financially that you need if you need that support? No. It's the first time they're hearing it. So yes, truly a blessing. Truly a blessing.
After you went through the treatment, you saw from the pictures, the x-rays, that the cancer was gone. But I heard with cancer, you've got to watch it for a certain period of time. So how long, what were you doing after getting the new diagnosis that it looks like it's gone? What was life like then, and how often did you have to go back and check, and do you still do it?
Yeah, so I was still in the mid stage of my journey. So although the PET scan in June of 2013 showed that there was no cancer to be found, I still was on this journey. I still was in and out of the hospital. I still was having this fatigue. My body was still going through changes, and I still had to complete all of my therapy treatments up until September of 2013. So I was, again, the support of my family, of my friends, to be able to give me that energy, that positivity, it kept me grounded, because it was, I'm gonna be honest, it was many nights, many days where I cried, you know what I mean, to myself. I remember having my first anxiety attack in life. And I remember laying in a hospital bed when it hit me. And I guess because now I'm relaxing for a change, now it's like, my body was really going through something. And I felt like the devil was on top of me as I laid in the hospital bed. I remember pushing the button for a nurse to come in. And I was like, something is wrong. I was hot. I was devastated. It's a crazy feeling to go through anxiety. And she told me what I was going through. I was having anxiety attack. And she gave me some medication to help me relax and help me sleep. And they sent me home with meds, but I was like, I'm not taking these meds at home. I'm just not going to claim this. I'm I'm not going to claim this. I had it one time at home after I left the hospital. My mom was here, who was my caretaker at that time. But I just cried and I prayed and I just kept praying and I kept praying and I got through it. I definitely got through it without meds.
So, I mean, that's a miracle in itself. Yeah. That's the second one. But you mentioned God. So can I ask you now that you can kind of look behind and see what you went through? Why do you think you were selected? Why do you think it was you?
I feel like I was selected so that I can be a voice, to be a face, to encourage, to uplift, to motivate, to inspire so many others that are currently going through the same journey that I went through 8 years ago. I feel like God knew that he chose the right individual, the right woman, the right daughter, his daughter, to go through what I went through, to be able to give back to cancer communities all over the country, to be able to share my story, and not just cancer, anything, the pandemic. You know what I mean? People are losing their jobs. People are like, what am I going to do? I don't know if I'm going left. I don't know if I'm going right. What am I going to do? So to be able to hear how resilient someone is, not just myself, but someone else that's been able to share their life-changing story with domestic violence, whatever it is. You know what I mean? To be a face and be a voice. I love doing what I do. I love sharing my story, you know, to be able to, you know, put it in your heart that you too can survive whatever it is that you're going through.
So Erica, is your life completely different now than it was before you were diagnosed with cancer?
Yeah, it is.
Do you live differently?
Hey, Alexis.
Hi, Alexis. Oh,
hi. Yes, it's definitely different. I never seen myself being in this position. Like, I just felt like I just would be just working and just traveling and just finding myself, you know. But with cancer and overcoming my battle with cancer and being in this space I am, you know, being able to share my story in magazines and newspapers and interviews and the modeling, that's another journey. I never thought.
That's the other thing we have to talk about.
Yeah.
How do you go from stage 4 cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma, to modeling? Okay, let's segue. Let's go ahead. You started it. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you now fearless? So you're just doing everything you've always wanted to do? Come on, tell me about that.
So I've always been the type of young girl who loved taking pictures. Oh, see, yay. Love taking.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. I've always loved taking pictures. I always loved fashion. So when I went through what I went through with cancer in 2014, I was invited to do a cancer awareness fashion show called Alive Again. And when I got on that runway, I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. Curves and all, you know, I can do this. And so I did the research. I got in contact with so many different photographers. I did the research. I signed up for different fashion events. I made the cover of Lux Curves magazine in January of 2020. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yes, DSW fashion event in New York in 2019. I've done so much. And I've never seen it coming, but I just kept pushing. I kept myself, I just humble.
I've heard when someone comes to a near-death situation and they come out of it, it's I am going to do every single thing that comes to my mind. I am not afraid. Is that true?
That part. And I'm using my platform to let other women, other young girls know whatever it is that you're going through, you too can survive it. And whatever it is that you inspire to be, your aspirations, go after those dreams. Do it.
Is that what in the pages of I Survive? That's your actual book, your first one, right?
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
Book. I'm sorry?
Can we talk about that? I mean, did someone say something to you, or is this your journal? Tell us about how that became a reality.
So I've always thought about writing my book, but then I was like, it's not a lot to talk about. It's going to be like 10 pages. So a good friend of mine, my friend who is an author as well, shout out to Hakeem. He told me maybe in 2019, April 2019, or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, around that time, maybe 2019, that I need to write the book. You need to write the book. You have a lot to talk about. You have a journey, cancer, modeling, being a speaker, being this inspiration, having your Erica Survived movement, you know. So he said, write the book. So throughout the pandemic, in the beginning, I was getting it together. I always wrote my story. I started writing my story like once I got back to work in July of 2013. I went back to work before I finished my last chemo, and I would sit
Wow,
at the
you are
computer.
serious. Wow.
Yes, in my downtime, I would write my story. And for years leading up to March of 2021, when I released I would write my story. I just added on as my journey continued over the years. And it's my story about what I went through leading up to my diagnosis, everything in between. I'm so transparent. I'm giving you so many details that I can't share on a stage when I'm speaking in 10 minutes. You know, I'm being very transparent at the end, the ups and downs, the nights, the days when I'm crying, when I'm trying to figure it out. Lord, are you going to save me from this? And then my journey with modeling and being an ambassador, an advocate for other patients like myself, their families. And then to Erica Survive, my LLC, my company, where I'm able to connect with newly diagnosed patients and their families and give them guidance and to be a listening ear at ericasurvive.com, where they can reach out to me, see my journey and say, hey, I need someone to talk to. I'm that person. I'm that person that, okay, talk to me. What you want to know? This is what I went through. What are you going through? How can I help you?
So Erica, writing something, it's one thing to tell something, and then it's something else to be in a room writing it down and
Yes.
going through it and editing it. But it's almost like you're reliving it. No?
Whew. Yeah. I relive it every day. And to be honest, I relive those moments often where I have to sit back and be like, wow, I can remember every second, every moment that from the beginning of November 2012, like you were watching a movie, like clearly. But writing this book, I learned so much as a first time self-publishing author. I learned so much. It was a journey. Trust me, it wasn't easy, but Google research, talking to people, asking my friend who is an author of 3 children books, and just asking him questions and just research got me here.
So where can we get a copy of I Survived?
Yes, so you can get a copy of my book at ericasurvive.com, a signed copy. I would definitely sign it for you. Yes, ericasurvive.com, get your copy. Other merchandise like my amazing I Survive shirts. And yeah, all things Erica Survive. Sorry, I Survived, you can find at ericasurvive.com.
So what do you hope people get out of this when they read the book? I mean, I think you talked about you were really transparent, but is there something in particular that they hope to get, that it wasn't just you just sharing information? Are you hoping they leave with what?
Be inspired, smile, cry, laugh, be inspired, be motivated, be resilient. I want you to know that you too are strong. You too are a winner. You too, you're a warrior. So if you're going through something, you're newly diagnosed, or you know you have a friend, you have a relative, a loved one that's going through, this book would definitely uplift you and inspire you. You would have some laughter, you would have some tears maybe, and not just because I wrote it, but through the feedback from individuals that purchased the book and gave me their feedback. It's an amazing book.
What are you hearing from people?
Oh my gosh, I love your book. It really is moving. I have a friend that's going through, they're newly diagnosed with cancer. I'm going to purchase a copy for them. I'm going to share with them. Like, you're resilient, Erica. You're truly resilient. And to be so transparent and all of what you went through is great for so many people that's going through something in their life personally. So to hear that is amazing, to hear that.
I can imagine kind of validating, you know, even though you're not doing it for validation, but just having people say that this is making a difference, which is what obviously you want to do. Yes. So you have a nonprofit. Would you again mention that nonprofit and exactly what do you do for those with cancer?
Yeah, so Erica Survive is my movement, is my LLC, my company, my baby. So we at Erica Survive, we're able to connect with newly diagnosed patients or survivors that just need a listening ear, and their families that have questions, concerns. Like with myself, I didn't know much about lymphoma, about Hodgkin, blood cancer.
Right.
My family didn't know. So to be able to have someone you can actually connect with, to talk to, is what we do at Erica Survive. So definitely, if someone needs guidance, needs help, like what I said with social workers, if you don't have a social worker, Erica Survive, Erica Campbell, I'm able to guide you. Hey, reach out to this organization. They can guide you. They can help you if you need financial assistance. So yes, that's what we do at Erica Survive.
Now, I have to ask my producer, he's not expecting me to do this, so I'm going to give him a second. In that montage of pictures we had, there was a picture of you, half face was one, and
Yes.
half of your face was something else. I'm going to have him bring that picture up or flip through it to come to that picture. Can you explain to me what this is supposed to mean or represent?
Strength, courage, hope. So I had this idea a few years ago. I actually took that picture maybe 3-4 years ago, and I wanted to do a split face to show the journey of going through your cancer battle. Most people lose their hair, lose their eyebrows, lose just that the hyperpigmentation that I battled with. And as you can see, the discoloration, I was battling with that. And my amazing photographer, Leroy, he did an amazing job. My amazing makeup artist, she actually just did one part of my face. Keisha, she did one part of my face, and I left out the house. I went to my photo shoot, and I said, I want to capture this moment, and he captured it.
That's not a drawing. That's an actual picture.
Yes, that's a picture. Yes. And
you have to bring that back up one more time. I thought that was a drawing.
No. My amazing MUA, my makeup artist, she did one part of my face and left the other one bare. And yes.
Wow.
Yes. The strength in that picture. It was actually in Times Square on March 26th of 2021. So
what was that for?
So March 26th is the day that I released my book. I Survived from Cancer to the Runway. So so that weekend was amazing, to be able to have that picture in Times Square and to capture and everyone that's walking through Times Square, and the release of my book. That was an amazing day for me.
And putting that on yourself, and to be somewhere like the Big Apple, I mean, that's got to be kind of nostalgic. You're looking back and just think it's surreal. I can't believe this is me doing this.
Yes, it was amazing.
Is this what you're doing full time now? Is this where you are? This is where Erica Campbell is and her trajectory?
Yes, and so much more. I'm so blessed to have so many opportunities, and again, yourself, Taylor, to reach out to me, to be able to share my story on your platform. It's amazing. So I'm working on a few things. I don't want to give too much out, but I am working on a few things, and that's the great part about Erica Campbell and all things that I'm doing, to be able to move the way I'm moving, because my mind is always going, what can I do next? You know, I got the book. Okay, what's next? So to be able to be blessed with so many different opportunities, it's a great thing. It's a blessing.
So is there talks or thoughts about doing another book?
Yes, I've been thinking about it. It's a cliffhanger at the end of my book. So I got to send you a copy of my book. Yes.
Oh, there's a cliffhanger at the end of your book. Oh, you made it like that. You got us on the hook, right?
Yes. Yes, because I've been dealing with a few other things that transpired, that came up in my life over the last couple of years. And I'm like, you know what? And a lot of women deal with this issue. So, and I won't give it away, because you have to get a copy. I have to send you a copy, a signed copy.
I think we're going to have you back on the show again, right?
Yeah. So I'm definitely, I'm thinking about it. It was a journey writing the book. It was a journey, just the process, but it was an amazing learning process for me, you know, to be able to learn something new, to be an author. That was new for me. So to have that title, it's like, okay. It was great.
So surviving stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma, the pandemic, which we're still in, but we're hopefully seeing a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
How is your life now?
Life is good. Life is good. And I'm human. I still have my ups and downs, but I meditate, I pray, I ask God to move me and give me clarity on what's going on when I'm going through something in that moment, because nothing is perfect. I'm not perfect. Life is surely not perfect, hence the COVID-19. And so life is good. I'm just, like I said, I'm a work in progress. I'm always working and trying to figure out what's my next best move, and to be a better woman, to continue to evolve as a woman, as a resilient woman, and be able to continue to be a face and a voice for so many others that sometimes just don't know which way to turn.
You've talked a lot, and so many people talk about the people who are suffering from this disease, right?
Yes.
Can you give some MJR squad love you, Erica? You are
Oh,
truly
thank
amazing. She
you.
is, isn't she?
Thank
you
you.
know, actually, there's another question that came up from one of the viewers. Michelle wanted to know, do you have children? There's
No,
no children
no,
yet. Oh, yeah, okay.
no. And I will
I do want
say,
to.
children are a blessing. I have 5 nieces and nephews, and I have a godson. But I feel like, thank God I didn't at
Excuse
that
me.
time.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Oh, bless you, bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I feel like
So you.
at that time, I said, thank God I didn't, because I was going through so much and I was trying to figure out what I was going through. So, I tilt my hat off to so many women that are currently going through their battle, or went through their battle with cancer and have children, and they were trying to figure it out. They were trying to juggle their battle with cancer and also make sure their children were good. So I would say at that time, thank goodness I didn't. Now I gotta find me a boo thing, so maybe I can have some kids.
I like that. I
Yeah.
love hearing that. Erica, what advice can you give for people who love people who have been diagnosed with cancer? We hear all the advice for the people going through it, but I think there are some words that you can say that could perhaps help those to support people. Maybe they're not even thinking that this is helpful, or this is not helpful when you do this when we've been diagnosed with cancer.
Yes. So I live by this. I came up with this as I was going through this affirmation, as I was going through my battle. And that is to never give up and continue to survive with your beautiful smile. Your smile is still there. You got to smile through it all. I know it's hard sometimes. And again, I'm human. I have a moment where I'm like, I don't want to smile today. And it's okay. But when you know that God is real, God is good, smile. You are beautiful. You are courageous. Continue to push through. And there is support out there. When you feeling alone, when you feel like you don't know which way to turn, there is organizations out there. There is companies out there like Erica Survive that will guide you and help you and be that listening ear. So I would say to all of you that are listening right now and that will listen later, when you click on this video later, continue to push. Don't give up. You will be okay. You will be good. Continue to push.
Erica, as we close out, how can we once again support you?
Yes, so you can check out my amazing life-changing journey at ericasurvive.com. You can get you a signed copy of my amazing book, I Survived from Cancer to the Runway and All Things I Survived merchandise, and make it fashion, says the model.
I love it. I love it. Erica Campbell, I look forward to having you come back on when you're going to tell us about this second thing that you're working on. I know there's going to be a bright, bright future for you. You're really helping families, and you're helping individuals get through a very, very tough time. I have to thank you for your time
Thank
and your
you.
information. Thank you, thank you, thank you so
Thank
very
you so
much.
much.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it. We will keep in touch. We will keep in touch. It is November the 11th. It is Veterans Day. As we thank our wonderful guest, Erica Campbell, for joining us, I want to close out with a couple of pictures that we opened up with, honoring the men and women who have served our country. And for those who are serving our country now and here and abroad, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all that you do, the said and unsaid. Have a wonderful night and happy Veterans Day.
See ya.